Hi, one Mr. Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Friday, November 18th. It's Week 12 in college football. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show that we do with Brent, the headlines manager from DSI Sportsbook. We're going to talk to Brent about the notable action that he's taken on the college football games up to now, Friday afternoon, as we do every week. Brent from BetDSI, thanks so much for being back with us once again and for giving us your time each and every week in these shows. There's three interesting games that I want to ask you about, all involving big road favorites, and I'm wondering if there was any sharp action on any of these games any which way. I'm assuming the public has come in heavily on the favorite in each of them. The first one, Ohio State and Michigan State. Obviously, Ohio State off of two massive blowouts. I'm assuming that the public's all over Ohio State, and I'm assuming because of the line movement that we have not seen, that there's been no sharp action as yet.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, they're a big road favorite right now, sitting at 22 right now, so 22-point road favorite at Michigan State. I did take what I'm going to call, pseudo sharp action, a guy who's usually quick with the opening number. You throw the number up on the board, and if he sees value, he hits it right away. He did play Ohio State minus 21. Now, I mean, I don't consider him a list guy because often he's playing a number that, you can't get, within half an hour of his play. So, he's not on a list, but he is a guy who's very sharp in terms of grabbing the opening numbers. He finds value, and he's quite good at that. So he did play the 21 Ohio State. Looking at my wager count in this game, it's actually pretty even. I mean, it does favor Ohio State for sure, slightly favoring them, but not a whole lot. Slightly more money on Ohio State as well, mostly because of that, the initial hit. But I haven't really, other than the guy who jumped on the initial number, not a whole lot, of sharp action involved on this at all, at least on the side. I will see for the total that we're going to be having a little theme here this week, and it's going to be totals action, because I've got a ton of it. I do have sharp action on this total. The number opened up, I think, across the board. There were some numbers, like 57.5 and 58 and stuff like that. I didn't open quite that high or that early, but I did take my first sharp action under 53, and we're sitting at 51 right now. So it definitely seems like the under is the sharp play for sure. I've got a wager count almost 2-1 favoring the over, so the public is betting the over, but my money definitely favors the under in this one, almost like 4-1. And again, sharp action on this game. The initial number, the minus 21. Again, we'll call it a pseudo sharp, but not a list guy. But the under 53 definitely sharp, Peter.
All right. Wow. So the line has gone down from the early opener, and sharp action came in even at the reduced number of 53. Very interesting. And then have to ask about Clemson and Wake Forest. Of course, Clemson coming off of the straight-up loss to Pitt, and the line has gone up a bit, actually. It's like 22.5, 23 that I'm seeing right now. Wondering if the public is all over Clemson here as well.
Yeah, almost the same situation as the previous game. The initial hit on Clemson was the same guy who grabs the opening number. He laid the 21 as well. Again, not this guy, but a respectable guy nonetheless. He did play Clemson minus the 21. We're sitting at Clemson right now minus 22.5 as a road favorite at Wake Forest. Looking at my wager count on this one, I've got almost twice as many wagers on Clemson as well. So much like the Ohio State game, I do have more public betting the road favorite as well. And there's kind of no surprise in terms of the public wanting to lay the big number, because I'm confident laying the big number, just because the team's basically supposed to win. So in terms of sharp action, I don't have any other than the initial guy minus 21 on Clemson. I do have, looking at the total, I've got mostly public money driving this total. It has gone up just slightly. We're sitting at 47 right now from an initial total of 45. So it's kind of a small move. We'll call it a 2-point move. But I do have a lot more wagers, almost like 5-1 my wager count favoring the over. So again, not a sharp guy, not a list guy on Clemson, but a guy who's respectable, grabbing the opening number. Did lay the 21 with Clemson, Peter.
All right, and then Florida State. I have to ask you about that one. They blasted BC last week, so, obviously the public has seen Florida State get a big margin win recently. Then, of course, I have to ask about Florida State. They're at Syracuse this week. They got a big blowout win last week at BC, so maybe that's in the minds of the public bettors. The line, I did see an early opener of 20.5. It's crossed that now up to 21 or 21.5. So this line has also gone up a bit. Again, assuming the public on Florida State. Sharp action, I don't know. What can you tell us?
Yeah, honestly, little action. There's not much action involved in this game on the side at all. In house here, we are dealing Florida State minus 21.5 on the road, big favorite at Syracuse. But it's just the little creeping up in terms of the line that did take place based on the wager count, which is almost 3-1 favoring Florida State. So again, the public getting behind Florida State, laying the big number on the road. So that's kind of the theme in the three games we've touched on so far. Just mostly the public driving the number up. Again, wager count almost 3-1 favoring Florida State, but nothing sharp involved on the side at all. I do want to touch on the total again, and there's a lot of totals this week it seems, but I do have sharp action on this one. This is a rare case this week at least where I've got sharp action on the over. I took some sharp action here early in the week on the over 60. We're sitting at 63.5 right now. Not the best situation for us in terms of having a wager count of almost 4-1 favoring the over, and then again, the public has no problem betting Syracuse games over, betting Florida State games over. So the public is all over the over on this one, and I have sharps as well. So the first hit from our sharp came over 60. We're sitting at 63.5 right now. Nothing sharp on the side though, Peter.
All right, Brent, thanks for touching on those three games. What else can you tell us about notable action from around college football week 12?
Yeah, it seems like I have a lot of totals this week now.
Yeah.
We are kind of getting towards that time of year where weather, might play a factor in these lines and then totals and how they move, stuff like that. I think it's one thing just to kind of mention. A lot of times it's wind is a bigger factor than rain or even snow and stuff like that. So wind is obviously a big factor because it affects the passing game so much. You can argue back and forth whether rainy weather actually helps the offense or not, simply because the offense they know where they're going, so they have the advantage there. So you hear a lot of debate about even among sharps amongst that. But a lot of the impact in terms of the sharp guys betting totals is where it's going to be windy and stuff like that, bad weather like that. So I'll jump straight away to on that note to Iowa at Illinois. I have a sharp play there under 46.5. We're sitting at 45 right now, 45.5. I've got more public money betting the over, so that's kind of why the number hasn't jumped as much. But under 46.5 was definitely sharp. Wisconsin, Purdue, exact same situation there in terms of having sharp action on the under. Sharp initially hit that number at 51, and we're sitting at either bounce between 48.5 and 49. Again, I've got public betting the over, so no surprise there at all. Down to the first side I'll mention is San Diego State. San Diego State is at Wyoming this week. Wyoming kind of, impressive this year and kind of sort of surprising in terms of their program. They're seeing a decent record of 7-3 and had that big win a few weeks ago. I believe it was Boise State they knocked off. So they are at home, and right now I've got San Diego State as a 10.5-point road favorite, and I did take sharp action on San Diego State when it was -8. So quite a big move there. Down to Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. We're sitting at a total now of 54 in that game, and that was sharp action on the under as well. That came at under 56. So Virginia Tech at Notre Dame, under 56 is where the sharp action came there. We talked all about Florida State, covered that one already. Down to, I've got 381 now, and your case number is Buffalo and Western Michigan. Under once again. We're sitting at a total right now of 57. Sharp action came there at under 61.5, so quite a big move there in terms of the sharp action, driving that number down. Another side for you is Arkansas at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is now a 1.5-point favorite at home, and Arkansas opened up as a 1-point favorite. So the sharp action came in on Mississippi State, as you can tell, grabbing Mississippi State plus the 1. Now, as I mentioned, they are a 1.5-point home favorite now. Tulsa now at Central Florida. We have Central Florida now a 1-point favorite. Sharp action came in on Central Florida when they were 2.5-point dogs, so that one slipped as well. We now have a road favorite who's become a road dog. Sharp action in Central Florida plus 2.5 there. Ohio State, we talked about that one already. Clemson, we talked about that was your game. And down to TCU and Oklahoma State. This is probably, when the Sharps line and match up. You remember a couple of weeks ago, TCU was one of those teams that they nailed. Their last game, they're coming off the bye, if you want to call it that. We know how this kind of been a theme with the NFL. But last time TCU was out, they were, a big play on this show, and they ended up just, waxing Baylor on the road. Now TCU is a home favorite of 5.5 at home to Oklahoma State, and TCU -4 and -4 -115 is where the sharp action came in there. So I've got a couple very strong list guys who are on TCU there. And the last college game we'll touch on is Utah State at Nevada. Big line move here as well. Utah State -4 is where I got sharp action there. Utah State is now a 7-point favorite on the road at Nevada, but sharps being sharp, they hammered Utah State -4, Peter.
All right, that sounds good. And once again, this week, I did give TCU as a pick in the Monday show, early in the week on Monday. Brent from BetDSI, we'll see how all this turns out. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week for College Football Week 13.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.